James Wilson, 1742 to 1798, delegate from Pennsylvania, signer of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. James Wilson was born in Scotland. He studied at the universities of St. Andrews, Glasgow, and Edinburgh. There, he was deeply influenced by the ideas of the Scottish Enlightenment. After emigrating to America in 1765, he became a teacher at the College of Philadelphia and studied law in John Dickinson's office before being admitted to the bar. In 1774, Wilson published a pamphlet that won him widespread recognition called Considerations on the Nature and Extent of the Legislative Authority of the British Parliament. There, he insisted that Parliament had no authority to legislate for the colonies. A Pennsylvania delegate to the Second Continental Congress, Wilson was a firm supporter of independence, but believed that his constituents should have a voice, and delayed committing himself until he was certain they were ready. Assured, he signed the Declaration of Independence. He remained in Congress through 1777, making a major diplomatic contribution by establishing how Congress would relate to indigenous peoples. Wilson did not approve of the prosecution of Loyalists, and his defense of them in court provoked outrage. A mob marched on his house in October 1779, and 35 of Wilson's colleagues barricaded themselves with him in his home and fought off the attackers. 6 men died, and over 17 were wounded. In 1787, Pennsylvania named Wilson as one of its delegates to the Constitutional Convention. During the convention, he was one of the most active delegates and led key debates on the structure of the proposed government, often allied with James Madison. He also served on the Committee of Detail, the group tasked with translating the early resolutions passed by the delegates into the first draft of the Constitution. Wilson advocated a strong national government and was a leading advocate of the principle of popular sovereignty, standing out among the delegates for his advocacy of popular control of that government. Although he held an enslaved person in his household, Wilson quietly argued against slavery, but did not press the issue for fear that the Southern delegates would bolt the convention. Instead, in order to hold the convention and the Union together, he proposed what would become known as the 3/5 Compromise. The compromise would count 3/5 of a state's enslaved population in determining that state's number of representatives in the lower house. As the convention continued, he came to regret this compromise, but it remained. Wilson's role in shaping the executive branch was critical. He was a strong supporter of a single executive, the idea of a president in charge of the executive branch, and although he supported a national popular vote for president, when other delegates refused to join him, he came up with the Electoral College as the means to elect the president. Wilson signed the Constitution on September 17, 1787, and threw himself into the campaign for ratification. In October, he delivered a speech arguing for its virtues that was widely reproduced in newspapers and distributed by George Washington in an effort to win over Virginians. Following the ratification of the Constitution, in 1789, Wilson was sworn in as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, having been nominated by George Washington. An economic panic in 1796 left Wilson deeply in debt, and he was briefly imprisoned in New Jersey. In 1798, while visiting a friend in North Carolina, he came down with malaria and died of a stroke.